Hello class, in this video we're going to go over how to divide decimals by whole numbers. Before we go into this lesson though, I need you to pause the video and put your proper heading in your notebook, which includes your first and last name, your date, mathematics, your period number, and the lesson title, Divide Decimals by Whole Numbers. Pause this video now and input this in your notebook. Now, dividing decimals by a whole number is pretty much the same thing as dividing any number by a number. We do see a decimal in the dividend, but not in the divisor in this case. So when we get to the decimal, all we're doing is moving it up. Now, what is not covered in this video is dividing decimals by a decimal. So meaning that there's a decimal in our divisor. Now, for that one has an extra set for that. So we're going to have additional videos with that. But today's only focus is dividing a decimal by a whole number so that we're breaking it kind of up into steps. So here's our first one. And we're given this word problem that says, Angela has enough wood to make a picture frame with a perimeter of 2 4/10 meters. She wants the frame to be a square. What will the length of each side of the frame? So a square has how many sides? 4 sides. And so the perimeter is the total distance around an object. So I know I'm breaking up this 2 4/10, dividing it by 4, because a square has 4 sides. So I'm going to write that out in an expression. So I have 2. I'm not sure why it came out like that, but let's rewrite that. 2 4/10 divided by 4. So what we normally would have done is create a house, right? The divisor is on the outside. Our dividend is on the inside. Okay. And we just divide pretty much the same exact way as we normally would, even if there was no decimal here. So how many times does 4 go into 2? Well, 4 can't go into 2 unless we want a decimal answer, which we don't want that here. So we're going to put a 0. And 0 times 4 is 0. So I minus the 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. Now I reach here. My next digit is actually that decimal. All I have to do is bring this decimal straight on up into my quotient. And I'm done. Don't have to do anything else again with it. I go to the next digit and I bring that down. It doesn't add a digit here when I move that decimal. I'm just scooting it on up. I'm moving it on up, right? And then I go, how many 4s go into 24? I know in my facts, 6 times 4 equals 24. So 6 goes here. 6 times 4 is 24. 24 minus 24 is 0. So I know that my solution here is 0 and 6/10. Okay? So we also need to create a sentence. What kind of sentence can we create? So I relook at the question here and it says the length of each side of the frame. So I can write the length of each side is 0.6 now, or 6/10. The thing is, though, we had a unit of measurement here, so we have to add that here at the end with that numbers. Okay, so our final answer is the length of each side is 6/10 meters. And then I'm going to circle that as my final answer. I want you to pause this video and write all of your work, including our answers, with the sentence in our notebooks. So now remember, when my divisor does not have a decimal, right, all I do is divide regularly. It's just whenever I get to that decimal, I just move it on up. Okay, it doesn't change anything at all. Okay, the process is the same exact. In another video, when we go over with the decimal inside the divisor, that's a little different story. But in this case, there is none, so all we do is a regular division. Let's do another problem. Here it has, Kylie has a roll of ribbon, 3 21/100 yards long. He cuts the ribbon into 3 equal lengths. How long is each piece of ribbon? So again, I rewrite out what it is that I want to do in an expression. So his total, all the ribbon he has, is 3 21/100. And he takes them and divides that into 3 because he makes them 3 equal. The word equal is very important because it means they all have to be the same exact size. And then I build my house. Our dividend goes inside. I'm not sure why that came out like that, but let's rewrite that. So I have 3 21/100, and my divisor is 3. Since my divisor does not have a decimal, I can divide like I normally would. So how many times does 3 go into 3? Once. So 1 times 3 is 3, so I have 3 minus 3 gives me a 0. Now the next digit is this decimal, so I just scoot it on up right where it is, and I move on to the next where I bring down my 2. Can 2 go into 3? It can in a decimal format, but we don't want to go into decimals, right? So right now we're going to put a 0. 0 times 3 is 0. So I have 2 minus 0 is 2. Then I bring down the 1. How many times does 3 go into 21? Knowing my facts, I know that 7 times 3 is 21. And 21 minus 21 is 0. So now that I have this, I have the solution of 1 7/100. But I'm not done because I do have to make a sentence. So I reread the question. It says, how long is each piece of ribbon? So I'm going to write in here, each piece of ribbon is 1 7/100. And I look back and I know that this is yards. It says yards right here. And then I just circle it as that is my final answer. That each piece of ribbon is 1 7/100 yards. I want you to pause this video, write down the question, all of our work, and our final answer in your notebooks. Now that we've gone over 2 problems, I want you to try some on your own. So here is yours that I want you to show all of your work. It's very crucial here, okay, to do this. So I have 3 7/800 divided by 3 and 6 25/100 divided by 5. Make sure you show all your work, and you may re-review any problems that we've done, and you may watch this video as many times as you need to. If you get confused at any point, please make sure that you still do all what you think needs to be done so that I could see where your thinking is.